The real estate market often seems like a distant world where only an elite of experts is successful. In a time of so much uncertainty in the air and bad news, realist investing can seem intimidating. But today, I want to tell you that if you make the right decision today, you can enter the real estate market from the back door. Bad credit record? No credit at all. Do you dread the idea of having a home loan? Do you dream of owning investment properties? You are in the right place and right time, because we have created a program which is a tax lien and deed investment online course of only 14 hours. This course is specially designed for people like you who have big dreams. You will learn at your own pace and everything from your home computer. This is your chance. Join our membership for $19.99 a year. What are you waiting for? Visit our website primetimehomebuyerBuyback.org and sign up today for course access.
All right. Welcome to Secure Your Energy Mondays with Lashley, your host, the team lead of Primetime Home Buyers. If you don't know what it is, don't maybe put it back on the screen one more gig. We're going to put it back on the screen one more time. tax lien investment course for you, the people who are interested in entering the real estate market through the back door. But today we're not going to be talking about that. We're going to be doing basically adjacent lives as we talk about on Mondays for the buyback team and whoever's interested in some of the topics that we talk about. Because we are real estate investors and we do own more than one property, or maybe we own one property, or maybe we own a property with a mortgage on it, or maybe we just investing in tax liens and tax deeds, whatever it may be, this topic should apply to you, especially if you're living in a home, okay, in a property that has anything to do with taxes. And 9 out of 10, all property in the United States have something to do with some taxes. Okay. So with that goes to say, the reason why we're talking about tax and appraisals is because, one, I noticed that my taxes has went through the roof. And I was like, let me do some research. Something is not right. I like, maybe I'm the person that find a problem with things and like to fix it. But at this point, there's a major problem in our economy. It's a major problem going on financially for all of us as home buyers, renters, and everything. And that's directly related to what happened in the last couple of years and a whole lot of bad financial decisions. Okay. So right now, what we are encountering is actually an inflation in the market. The inflation in the market can be good for people who are active investors, have a large portfolio, or have a good amount of net income to get into. A lot of people have noticed that they have received letters, I want to buy your home. A lot of people have noticed that their taxes has went up tremendously, or the fair market value for their home has went up tremendously. I'm going to give you an example because I always talk about real life situations, my life, or maybe some situations I can share of others. But what I'm talking about today is specifically a home that I purchased in Georgia under a conventional loan. This was about 6 years ago. This particular property is one of the properties that I own. Now, it started off at $98,000. So we did a $98,000 home loan, which was equivalent to, give us say, at that time after the fees, it was like one 98, 99 in mortgage. Okay. So I'm telling you this now because from 6 to 7 years ago, this same property that was valued $98,000, three bedroom home, is now valued $236,000. I said, hold up. Now, the person who don't understand the real estate market will get excited, like, oh, my house is worth this, I'm about to sell it. And as we talk to people about, this is not always the safest market for people who are conventional homeowners that are selling, because what they found was that they were outbidded. A lot of people were talking about being outbidded. There is a lot of articles that highlights basically banking institutions and corporation buying up property. Okay. And as I stressed on Friday when we talked about Utah, our competition in the tax lien sale has not only been just us, tax lien investors, but our competition happens to be banks now. Banks are investing in tax liens and tax deeds, and that is higher in the stakes. And that is actually pulling the homes again from conventional homeowners like me and you. This is why we have these educational talks, because we want to really understand what type of situation we are. We have to start having higher level conversations so we can realize what we are doing financially on an individual basis and as a nation. Okay. I'm gonna kind of just get in, straight off this a little bit in the beginning. But did you see what the president just did? What every single president just do? Raise the debt ceiling. I think this is the most dangerous practice that America has been practicing consistently, because what it's doing is falling on us. We are the surety for the United States debt. If you don't understand that, I'm going to break it down just a little bit. As a United States citizen, or anyone who comes to swear by the pledge allegiance and the American flag, you have sworn to that national debt, which includes taxation as well as the inability to question said taxation and the national debt. Okay, if you really read the Constitution, and you really read the law that put it in there. Okay. So what that says is that put us in a really a bind. We're in a bind, Nate. The average person like me and you, that what they wish they call middle class, we're in a bind. You know, a couple of years ago, they said specifically the middle class was going to be phased out and nobody paid attention. And something is happening. So if you're not trying to catapult yourself or strategically put yourself in position to have assets, and assets is not considered cars. We talked about what assets is. We're talking about things that don't depreciate, but it may, like a home can depreciate, but not as fast as a car, not as fast as sneakers, not as fast as clothes. You see what I'm saying? So we have to build our assets, think strategically, and this is why we're having these talks called Secure Your Energy, because we're not going to just say invest in tax liens and tax deeds and not give you a well-around picture or have these discussions of what's going on. Okay, so one of the topics I do want to highlight is there is a concept called appraisal fraud. Okay, now we talked about home appraisal fraud coming from the aspects of Black families being discriminated in this practice where their homes were undervalued when they were ready to sell. Now, we're going to address this from another perspective where possibly, and I'm not going to say that the counties are putting in fraudulent appraisals, but I really think right now what we have to do is put many different factors into the equation of appraisals, and inflation is one of them in reality. So what we're finding that is counties across the board, across states across the United States, that the tax are hiking it up and people are suffering and they're complaining. I did my little research today and it was state by state by state by state by state by state by state. So we're going to start with just showing you, you know, we like to show a little bit of proof, but let's talk about Spokane County. Now we're going to be showing you different counties in different states. Okay, so this is showing you that it's actually a true problem and we do have to be prepared for this. Okay, hold on, is it on the screen? Y'all know I'm my own producer, so just bear with the process. Bear with Lashley. Yeah, it's on the screen. I want to show myself. Okay, let's go.
Likely increase. Creme 2 covering the growth in the inland Northwest through our ongoing Boomtown series. And tonight we are talking about a likely increase in property taxes. Creme 2's Malia Kamal spoke to the Spokane County assessor to find out what property owners could expect. Malia?
Yes, homeowners could see as much as a 9% increase come next year, but the county assessor says it's not necessarily a bad thing, and I'm going to explain why.
The only thing certain is death and taxes are going to go up every year.
Spokane County Assessor Tom Konis says that homeowners in Spokane County could pay as much as 9% more in property taxes come next year. The reason behind this is the fact that property values have increased by 30%, but that solely won't be passed along to property owners through tax assessments. Instead, some of that money will be voted on and potentially raised through levies and other measures.
Right now, we're looking at 8% inflation nationwide, and yet the municipalities are limited to 1%, which is great for us as taxpayers because it makes it a little more solid. Mm-hmm. This year, we had, of course, unprecedented value increases, a little over 30% countywide. We are estimating probably about a 9% total tax increase. So it's not a direct correlation. If your value went up 30%, your taxes are not going to go up 30%. They can't.
And as Konis says, municipalities are limited to a 1% increase. The Spokane City Council was originally proposing a 0% increase for the upcoming year, but come next week, the committee will push for a 1% tax increase. Council member Michael Cathcart is against the increase and in the statement explains why. The Spokane City Council proposal to increase taxes across Spokane is misguided during this time of inflation and looming recession. I continue to hear from families and individuals across Spokane who are struggling to afford a rising cost of living, including just making rent or mortgage payments. Now, City Council is expected to vote next Monday on the increase. Property taxes are due in April and October of next year. In the newsroom, Malia Kamal, Creme 2 News.
Okay, so I wanted to show you that specifically because this is just the first county that we're going to be talking about or just highlighting. And what they're saying specifically is that allegedly it's because of the 30% fair market value perception, because we're going to say perception of the homes increasing, we may face up to a 9%. Now, she specifically said in that county or state, and I don't know, and this is why we actually teach the buyback team how to research law, real estate law. And the reason why is because we need to know what our elected officials are able to do and what they're not able to do. And if we don't know, we may end up getting put in a bind. And okay, I'm going to just explain this to you through the broadcast. There are lawyers right now who has consecutive ads that highlights it is very important to contest your taxes. Okay. Now we're going to be talking more about this because I'm going through the process. I already told the buyback team. I said, maybe I'm just looking for trouble this year again, because this is not the first time I contest my taxes. The first time I contest the tax value and how much I was paying is because I homeschool. My kids don't utilize the school. I literally try to put my son in activity in the school because the state do allow homeschool people to participate in the county, and the county reneged and said no. So I was like, well, why I'm paying you all this money for taxes if I can't use the school? I didn't win because I didn't really know a lot about the law. But today we're going to go in on another note because at this point, the inflation is so high, it doesn't make sense. So just last week, because I always share with the buyback team what I'm doing, I actually sent the letter to contest the assessment of the taxes because it literally went up from, I think it was it went up about $400-$500. And that sounds pretty consistent between that 1% and 9% that they were just talking about in that county. We're feeling it all over the board. So we're going to get into it a little bit more because I'm still researching from lawyers how to approach this. So while I'm doing the same thing, I'll be showing you guys how to secure your energy. Now, one of the things we're going to go into, top reason why appraisers are sued. Do you know you can sue an appraiser? Do you know that? You can sue anybody. I'm gonna always say it until to the highest mountain. I sue the county. You can sue anyone. Okay, do what you have to do if you have a grounds to stand on. But according to AILA, and this is AILAs.com, reasons why people sue real estate appraisal professions. One is in negligence. One way negligence can occur concerning the square foot of the property. You need to pay attention to all of the documentations that's going on with your appraisals and also understand what the elements of an appraisal consist of. If you got 2,700 square feet property, you want to make sure that on that appraisal it say 2,700 square foot property, got a basement, you want to make sure that every commodity is listed, that is able to be listed, okay? And never let an appraiser tell you that you don't get points for upgrades. You don't get consideration. I had an appraiser told me that, and that was a daggone lie, okay? Okay? I had to show him. I had to show him the proof. And sometimes you just got to do that. Like, sir, ma'am, I think you should be more educated than that. And, you know, sometimes I know we want to get upset, but don't. We teaching emotional intelligence here too, because I get upset too. I'll be like, do this person think I'm stupid? So fraud usually falls under the category where the appraisal professional end up hurting the client by undervaluing the property, as we talked about. But an overvalue of property is an issue as well. And I found that these actual articles did not address overvaluing, because overvaluing of a property sometimes can help the homeowner. But in a market like this, it's not helping the homeowner because private homeowners like you and me are being bidded out by bankers and large corporations that's actually buying up the property. Okay. So we have to pay attention to who we actually in competition with and start coming up with some plans. Okay. Now I want you guys to know that you can sue a appraiser. There are statutes of limitations to it, and we're going to go into that just a little bit. We're also going to go into the U.S. Supreme Court curbs state property taxes windfall. This is an article that was by Rutgers, May 25th, 2023. We're going to go into that as well. And now let's just go into some of the concepts of how an appraisal actually works. If you don't know, I just want you guys to pay attention to what we have to know about appraisals. Okay. So some of the features of appraisals is that they're going to pay attention to the square foot, the room size, patios, balconies. That's what I talk about. Upgrades, yard space, the ambiance of it. No, not really. Number of bedrooms, closets, the pools, the features, the fireplaces. If it comes with a garage, if it have an extra room, a new roof, these type of things are considered. Inspecting the property and the land is one of the main things that the appraiser is supposed to do. So you make sure when that appraiser comes that they don't come in and just You want them to do a thorough inspection, and you let them know if you feel uncomfortable with the behaviors that they do have an ethical board that they have to follow within their realms of practice. Okay. Sometimes you'll be like, sir, ma'am, that is not right. Don't you have a board of ethics to deal with? Because I don't think that's copacetic. I think I need to ask them some questions. And they'll be like, wait a minute. Let me speak to my supervisor to see, can we reevaluate what's going on with this appraisal. So the appraisal will also evaluate the neighborhood, including the features and the accessibility, desirability, and the locations. This plays a part in the appraisal process. So you want to know that those things are being considered. And when they have an appraisal done, you can actually get the full copy of everything and just kind of get a breakdown of what they reviewed and kind of the value of certain commodities and things like that. It depends on the appraisal report that they actually use. So I want you guys to definitely hone in on that. Now, how might you be scammed by a real estate appraiser? Again, when they tweaking those numbers, it can work for your benefit, but it may not work for your benefit because, as we have seen with Black homeowners, where they was discriminated on, literally losing hundreds of thousands of dollars on a devaluation. Okay, but let's go on. Appraisal form. Okay, so that appraisal for fraud. It can happen, and it usually happens more when a mortgage is attached to it, whereas the value of the home is deliberately appraised at an inflated amount, well above the fair market value. Appraisal fraud can occur when the appraisal is in on the scam and dishonestly overstating the value of the property. Okay, according to Investopedia. Now, I'm not saying that the government and the counties got something to do with the appraisers and they work together. But all I'm saying right now is that the people are not winning. We are not winning with the value of the appraisals that they're giving us. And realistically, if the house that I had 6 years ago didn't get bigger, I didn't add anything to it. How did it go from 98,000 to 230,000? It sounds nice, but if you're not ready to sell and you have to acquire all the taxes behind that value, you're not going to be happy with this process. Okay. Now, if you only just have taxes to pay, it may not hurt you as much because some homes don't have mortgages on it. Those are the smart people who was able to get their home without a mortgage. Okay. So now we're going to show you should absolutely protest your property tax. And this is according to WFAA. We're going to watch this together, see what they got to say about that. Okay. All right, let's get it. I hope you guys are having an amazing Monday. Today we're coming in hot, we're coming in hard, and we're elevating the conversation. We cannot be deterred into just, focusing on entertainment and things like that. We really have to figure this out because we are being phased out of our home. The cost of living is going up and the pay rate is not. Literally, people in America right now are having 3, 4, and 5 jobs just to survive, and they're just now just making the rent. This is not acceptable, and I hope you guys see that this is a major problem that no one's going to address for us but us. And the way we address that is through education, figuring out the system, and learning how to speak up our piece. And that can be through filing claims, doing appeals, whatever you need to do, because there's a whole lot of us, as I'm going to show you, that's literally going through the increase of taxes because the inflation of the appraisal values. See, that's a double-edged sword. We thought it was good.
If you own a home or rent and you haven't received an appraisal notice for your property taxes yet, it's on the way. And people are getting hit with sticker shock. Our Morgan Young spoke with a realtor who says her advice is simple.
And y'all have really been sounding off about this on our Instagram post. Jorge says he has to raise rent because taxes are up on all of his properties. Lainey says we'll be living under a bridge soon. And William typed a simple not good. What is good is there is something you can do about it. And a realtor I spoke with says you should.
When somebody receives their value notice in the mail and they find out that their property value just went up $50,000 or even $100,000 like my assistants did, there's quite an emotional reaction.
Broker Chandler Crouch's advice: protest.
Everybody should protest every single year for a few reasons. Number one, you just really don't have anything to lose.
We reached out to our 4 largest counties and heard back from 2. Dallas County mailed notices out Friday. Denton County's first batch goes out Monday. Denton County expects 120,000 protests.
Last year, we protested for 22,000 people.
Crouch says his company had about a 90% success rate. He says step 1, let your appraisal district know you want to protest by the deadline.
And the easiest way to do that is just to take the value notice that you get in the mail and turn it over and fill out the back side of it.
Then make your case. Get data from a local realtor about home sales near you. Document any issues that would take away from the value.
Take those photographs, send them in, get repair estimates from contractors.
Don't go down without a fight. In Dallas-Fort Worth,
you absolutely need to protest your property taxes.
I'm Morgan Young.
Are you ready? I truly appreciate that gentleman, which is a lawyer. We're going to share that link below. We're also going to share another lawyer. Now, this lawyer that we share with you later on in the broadcast is actually from Alabama lawyer. And he's like, protest, protest, protest. You don't have anything to lose. Turn that paper over. They usually have it in the back. If they don't, they have a little section of what you need to do. And me, I just wrote I wrote a little letter. Siobhan Lashley wants to protest my taxes because of the inflation. I put because of the perceived inflation. So I'm going to go in and find some more factors and actually contact some of these lawyers that we're going to share with you. So, we can lower our taxes as well as identify fraud. Through this broadcast, I've learned so much as well doing my research. If you find out that your mortgage company has done anything fraudulent pertaining to your escrow, pertaining to the way they're allocating your money to the funding, the escrow account, to the actual principal, anything, and you get an outside entity to audit, like say the Consumer Protection Bureau, because they do protect us, and go over that. I had to report my mortgage company. They like, damn. Snitches get stitches. Baby, snitches get their stuff low down to certain people because I'm not about to be bullied. Okay. So I had to report my mortgage company because basically they said that my mortgage went up because the taxes went up. Okay. But it was an overestimate of what was needed for the escrow. And just like he said, homeowners lose their damn mind because this is a trickle effect, especially if you have a mortgage. Now you have these lenders, maybe predatory lenders, that's like, hey, it's a chance now. This person's not educated. We about to hit them. Ma'am, you have to pay $3,000 towards your escrow account. And they won't say $3,000. They'll say $250 a month of your payment goes to the escrow. And if you do the math, you'll be like, well, the math not math then. That's too much going to the escrow when the taxes is actually this. Why are you doing this? Now, the first time I asked my mortgage company, why would you do that? You're taking an extra $400, $500, which I can be saving now. They said, well, if it's anything extra, we're going to send it back to you on the back end. No. The way things are going now, I need to save on the front end. So what this goes to say, I reported to the Consumer Protection Bureau, and they just mysteriously, my mortgage went down about $60. Okay, $60 was good enough for me. Because I said, wait a minute, because it was going to go up anyway because the tax is going up. So to this year, again, this same mortgage that I had to go get, troubleshoot it, is going to be going up again. So the buyback team, I like to tell y'all my business. I'm going to be telling you what's going on. But before I even hit the mortgage company, I'm protesting the taxes first. Okay, so now moving forward, I wanted to share that story with you because I want you guys to understand how real it is. Anything I share with you, I'm living it. I'm breathing it. And the way I win, I want you guys to win as well. I'm never afraid to call fraud out. I don't care who they are. So now this is an article brought to you by News Weekly. Now we're going to move from, let's say, the last one I just showed, the first one I showed you was actually January 2022. Okay, I think. And it was starting to go up then. Now we're going to be showing you April 2023. Colorado housing market creates massive hike in property taxes. So what we're going to be showing you is the consecutiveness, that we're not making things up right now at all. And I hope we don't get copyright for that. Now, I'm going to read it to y'all guys since they want to play music. Y'all can see it on the screen? No. They said, girl, we can't see it on the screen. Why? Okay, that's why. I do apologize. I'm like, why they can't see it on the screen? So I'm going to read it to you guys because it's all music right now. But concerns about the housing market are driving up property taxes. This is in Colorado. Yeah. In Colorado, several counties assessors announced that there will be an increase. And we're having a fit. In the median residential value of many homes. So the medium is the most amount, okay? And that's usually the middle class, okay? Areas like Boulder can expect property taxes to increase 35%. Are we not living in what people have been predicting for all these years and saying that this is not going to happen, but it's happening? It seems like we're being phased out. I'm middle class, baby. I'm middle class with you. And other areas could see an increase in up to 60%, guys. If this is not a warning to the few, look at your tax bill. Do not just put it to the side. After months of inflated prices and rising interest rates, this is the back end of what we're dealing with. This is out of control. Yep, you see me? This is me right here. This is me talking to y'all right now. You see this man having a fit. Expert says an unprecedented crash may cause people to lose their homes. Now, I'm going to leave that comment because I don't want to wish bad on our system. But 2008 was a horrible housing crisis, and that was related to bad business. Regardless of what type of bad business, we have bad business now and the effects of C-19 and the mortgage memorandum and all of these cases being held up, people not being able to pay the rent because they couldn't work. Let's not get into it. I think a crash would be consistent with a lot of foreclosures. People losing their home with prices falling below the amount of mortgage debt that's owed. And people, thank you. You see what I'm saying? Do you understand? I told you specifically, the mortgage that is owned on that property right now is less than $80,000. The property is worth $230,000, allegedly inflated. And if I was a homeowner that couldn't pay it and things was going on, this will be how much equity, perceived equity as a homeowner, a person can lose in a situation like this. Because you have, and y'all may not believe it, you're going into Aldi's, you're going into Walmart, you're going into local grocery stores that's having more self-checkouts than actually cashiers. Okay, so that means that those jobs are being phased out. That means that that money is not being allocated to the middle class community. That's what it says to me when I see a whole bunch of checkout things like that. People really don't look at it like that, but that's why we're talking right here. Secure your energy. We got to make sure that we're securing our energy and we're not just looking at things abstractly. We got to go in objectively. People are giving up and being forced to voluntarily leave their homes. So I wanted to show you that right now. Let's press pause on that, and we're going to move forward with the next one. I found a lot. I couldn't believe it. I said, "Oh my God, there's a lot." So now the next one is in Miami-Dade County. Residents could see first property tax break in over 10 years, and now this was July 2022. Now this is kind of good news, but we don't know what's going on right now. We don't know what's going on right now, and I think let me not even talk. I start talking in my little conspiracy mind. I think that in the middle of the COVID, a lot of these states that actually had more open policies like Florida, Georgia, Texas, they were doing incentives and pulling people from other states. And now you're seeing these same states, taxes being heightened up. The property tax exploded because it was just this mass migration. And that's what happens when people come and invest. That's just part of increasing in the property value, which is natural. But since it was a big influx, and then you still have the people who live here, who have been here and still have these same incomes, because the income didn't go up. Just because some of these companies are making more money doesn't mean that it's being shunted down to the actual employees. These are the situations we're in. So let's just share a little bit of allegedly good news and see what they're talking about. But I don't think it's too much. Miami-Dade Mayor Levine Cave released 2022-2023 proposed budget for the county. In the budget, the first property tax reduction we've seen in over a decade, but with property value surging in South Florida. Can y'all see this, booze? Yeah, y'all can see it. In South Florida is, will the tax cut even make a difference? The tax breaks mayor is proposing is just 1%. At least she tried. How I get quiet? At least she tried. Okay. Which is significantly less than some of the cuts proposed by other elected officials. Experts says the average homeowner will likely not notice the difference. That's why I just paused. I thought this was good news, guys. Now, I don't think the homeowner is going to see any real significant release. There is likely that they'll actually see an increase. It's just a lesser of the increase than just might see. Oh, that's exactly what I was saying. I believe that these legislators are coming up with policy to slightly hamper the bump, the hit, and what we're going to be feeling as homeowners. Okay, so she said that this 1% decrease is not going to do anything because of the increase of the fair market value. Okay, and there has been other counties who have done things similar. Like one of the counties that I invested, Carolina County, they actually put the land on a tax holiday, which I mentioned in Utah about the significance of the actual value from the property, because when they put the property on a tax holiday, it lowered the value of the property as well for taxation. Well, the land. So in that particular case, taxes, the value was lowered based on their equation, allowing the value to go from 16,000 to 5,000 for these 3 years till the market corrects itself. Now, that is an incentive for land builders because they want you to come and still be there and build in the middle of this damn chaos. Okay. So I explained this to you guys, I think on the Utah Live, and now we're just revisiting it one more time so you guys can understand what this actually means. Okay. So now I'm just going back into it. I don't think the homeowners is going to see any real significant relief. There is likely that they'll actually see an increase, as we just said. It's just a lesser of the increase than they might have seen if they did not done this. The $10.3 billion budget has a countywide property tax rate of $462 per $100,000 of taxable value, compared to the current value of $467. A $5 difference. That's what I said. This is not really going to do anything for the homeowner. But these are some of the incentives that some of the counties will try to take, and it kind of shuts people up who don't understand math. But then when you do when the math ain't mathing and you get an actual still increase, you're like, oh, I should have contested. That's why we're talking about it now. That's why the lawyer said it's better for you to contest it than not. It's not going to hurt you to write a letter. So now let's go into February 20th, 2023. Cook County property tax skyrockets for thousands of homeowners and businesses. What we're showing you now is the consistency of the conversation. This is going to be a major problem. I don't know why God made me talk about it today. You know, I'm always going to bring God up. But what I am saying is that I think that we're going to be in deep doo-doo. We're going to be in deep doo-doo. Make sure that you can pay your taxes and your mortgage, even if you have to cohabitate people. We have to win. We have to keep our property, okay? We can't let the bankers take our property.
Cheryl, Rob, overall, the tax rate is up across Cook County, and the I-Team found that property taxes surged 100% or more for thousands of people. The increases come at a time when inflation is hurting consumers.
It makes us feel violated.
Aliki Marinos and her brother Frank are fighting a 140% increase on their property taxes at their business Belmar Wire Products. The property taxes went from about $42,000 in 2021 to about $109,000 in 2022.
The increase doesn't seem justified.
Now, because of those taxes, the Marinos family is wondering how much longer they'll be able to make these displays for retailers to showcase products. The family says they already laid off 5 employees, half the staff. The business started by their father in 1970.
Being a 50-plus-year-old business in Chicago, starting from scratch in manufacturing, this is kind of what Chicago, was built on in the old days.
A spokesperson for Cook County Assessor Fritz Kage's office says their Bucktown neighborhood has undergone significant change and market values have increased. Kage's office also says the property was most likely previously undervalued.
I thought it was a mistake. I thought I had to open my eyes. I blinked a few times.
The Marinos family is appealing, and they're not alone. A record number of people in Cook
Hold on, we got a little glitch. Wait a minute.
County are fighting tax bills with the state's Property Tax Appeal Board. Those appeals expected to now exceed 40,000. The I-Team also found that Cook County property tax bills increased 100% or more year to year for roughly 20,000 properties, the majority residential. We obtained the data on the high percentage increases under the Freedom of Information Act from the Cook County Treasurer's Office, which is only responsible for collecting the bills. The Assessor's Office determines the amount billed. The data shows that this home in the Roseland neighborhood on the city's south side received a property tax bill that increased 1,000% year to year.
Wow.
Nearby in the Chicago Lawn neighborhood, Dorothy Ross, who gets the senior exemption, was hit with an 884% tax hike.
I don't like it. That's what I think about it.
The county's assessed value of her home doubled from more than $6,000 to more than $12,000. Her tax bill was only $143 in 2021, but she didn't expect it to surge to $1,400.
That means that I got to go somewhere else to get it. I got to go get a loan from the bank, or I got to ask my children for it. It's got to come from somewhere because it's got to be paid.
The Cook County assessor says Ross and the other residential property owner who faces the 1,000% hike both saw assessed value increases based on market value. A spokesperson says they may also qualify for a senior freeze, which could roll back the assessment and put their bills back to where they used to be. And here's another example. The Blommer Chocolate Company on Kinsey saw a 520% increase in taxes due to the assessed value shooting up.
How do you expect people to survive? And how do you expect them to feed their families?
If an appeal doesn't work, and we can't get some of that money back, then we might have to make some drastic changes.
We also asked the assessor's office about those numbers showing those 20,000 properties with 100% or more increases, but we did not get a response. Rob, Cheryl, if you are dealing with an increase, you can go through an appeals process. All this information is on our website, abc7chicago.com.
We have a step-by-step process for you there.
Stagger.
Okay, so guys, I'm going to be leaving these same videos in the description for you because they obviously have resources for people who have major issues. Dude, y'all know y'all saw my reaction. This is about to be a reaction video. Not only did they try to tell that business owner that it was undervalued for all of these years, they went up 110%. They even talked about homes 1,000% increase in taxes. This is out of control, and exactly what we talked about. It is based on this perceived inflation of the fair market value of the homes. I said to myself again, did my home have did I put a porch? Did it get bigger? What made the home go from 98,000 when I first bought it to now 230,000? This is not real. And this is why we have to talk to lawyers, talk to the tax assessor's office, finding out how we can talk to the board and start appealing some of the decisions and the equations that they use to assess our taxes. Okay. That's why these lawyers are coming out. They said they expect over like 21,000 actual appeals to come through in the other county we were talking about. So what we just showed you was Cook County. Okay. And now we're moving on to another side. We're going to show you another state. This is outrageous, guys. But as we get through these states, we're going to show you some resources because we're not here to play. We're here to slay. Okay, so we talked about Colorado. Now we talked about Illinois. Now we're going to be going into This is Texas. Oh, this is another Colorado property taxes. This was in April 26th. Okay, this is Denver, Colorado that I'll be showing you now. I'm not by myself. I said I'm going to talk about this today because my taxes went up. I only talk about things that apply to me that I think that I could really talk about and make sense. And baby, it was so many articles. It was out of control. So the residential increase, this is homeowners want to brace for higher property taxes. And this is brought to you by Colorado 2 very own. Hold on, let's open this up. This is yes, in my face. I'm at a loss.
During the housing.
Start it again. I can't.
Home values shooting up across the state during the housing boom, and assessors are trying to brace homeowners for their new valuations that could lead to even higher property taxes.
Fox 31's Alex Rose to break down how high those home values are soaring. Alex, we were just talking about this. It's astronomical.
Yeah, absolutely, Erica. I got to tell you that assessors called this rise in value absolutely unprecedented, especially because it isn't just happening in pockets of the state, but it's really happening statewide. Again, we really haven't seen this across the board. Here's a breakdown of the average value increase for residential homes in the metro. Douglas County leading the way with a 47% increase over the last valuation done 2 years ago. So this is an average. So again, some homes may see less of an increase. Others may see more than what you're seeing on your screen. Keep in mind, these are valuations. That's not necessarily how much your property taxes will go up. So again, earlier today, 9 county assessors broke down these numbers during a news conference earlier today. This comes as their offices are sending out notices to homeowners and property owners, and they're going to have until early June to potentially appeal your valuation. That process is based on the county you live in. So the tone from today, it seemed pretty urgent. They're asking the state to step in and give taxpayers a relief before these taxes are set in stone later this year. Here's the state's property tax administrator who has gone through this process 9 times before, and this is what she says why we're seeing this massive swing.
And it's the first time every county is having growth of some kind or another. And what has added to that? Well, we're a very attractive state. I think COVID added to it, where people are moving in because they have more flexibility in their jobs. I believe that we have more people moving in. It's clear that we're underhoused right now.
All right.
So there are also things that will.
Let me stop this. I want to break something down to the family. Do you remember where they talked about how basically 2008 housing crisis was caused by the predatory loans that were just given to people? They made it predatory because what they were doing was luring people to get these loans and locking them into bad interest rates and things like this. what happened during the C-19 and they did the PPP loans and they did all of these incentive loans was pretty much similar to that situation. So people who didn't have that specific amount of income coming in were able to get these higher loan amounts and fund businesses that may have not been bringing in as much income right now and securing places, properties, and things. And now what we're seeing is the tail end of it. Like I told you, we're not bringing in the income like we're supposed to. We have AI coming in, phasing out a lot of the jobs that middle class can do. Okay. Then we have the situation where a lot of those loans that we talked about, it didn't only go to, PPP loans. There were incentives for big businesses. You remember when Trump was in the office, he gave some things to his buddies. And most presidents do. It's not about Democrat, Republic. Y'all already know I don't play no games with none of them, with nobody. We have to basically get grassroots, because if we keep basically depending on right, left, middle, we're going to get nowhere, because all these years we haven't gotten anywhere. I don't care what political side you're on. Please tell me how you're winning right now. We all have the same mortgage. We all have the same inflation hitting us, and we all have the low pay rates. Okay? So when I talk about Pacific Party, please don't jump it out your drawers. I'm going to talk about what happened. So he incentivized, because Biden, President Biden, he's like incentivizing war. He's incentivizing sending money out to other countries. That's a whole nother way of money coming out. Okay. But Trump did this and other presidents, and it kind of hurt us, because now you got these big companies that had the funding that they wasn't making during the C-19, because none of us was buying this big money to play with, and they went and buying. The inflation did not just get created from nowhere. You don't hear them saying where inflation came from. It came because it was a perceived demand, because you had all the big boys going in there like 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000. And we there like, well, I only got 1,000. Damn, we can't do this. And they inflated the market. So I wanted to stop and highlight that, because this is one thing that is really missing from the commentary. We have to put ourselves in a real perspective of what happened, okay? Now we're going to move into, because we're going to go into, let's see, Butler County property value. I can't show you it so much. We're just going to show you one more county, because I keep showing you counties after counties. I'm in Georgia, so let's go get into Gwinnett County, and I think that'll be the last county that we get into. I had a lot of counties. I got Jefferson County. This is all over. Get the facts about, this is the next thing I want to go in after we talk about Gwinnett County. Now, there are some incentives and laws that have been put in place for seniors, disabled, people who have homesteads. This is some of the things that I tell the buyback team to be aware of. As tax lien and deed investors, when we go in, if the home has a homestead, we know that we may have to pay a little bit more. We may have a longer time on the redemption period. If the property is occupied by a senior citizen, we know the buyback team to go look at those laws, because they may not be able to be evicted under the tax clause in their particular county. Now, that's what we're going to show you now. They have some incentives for seniors, and that's what they mentioned before, the senior freeze. It's something. I hope it's better than what the 1% that the lady just did. I be trying to give these people the benefit of the doubt, and then I go read and go into it, and I get the details. I'll be like, oh, because we'll read the surface stuff, but if you don't read the details, that's where the sharks go in. The devil is into details. And I said, hey, I'm coming for you. I won't read the details. So now let's move into Gwinnett County, because we're in Atlanta. And I think that's going to be the last county that we show you. And then we're going to talk about the incentives that other classes of people may have. And that's only like seniors, disabled, and people like that. We ain't got too much incentive, middle class and young class and people who got kids. I don't know why they forgot about us. But maybe if we start contacting our legislators by papers, starting petitions. I know it sounds corny, but once we put our foot in they got to do something. Let's listen to this, okay, guys? I ain't cursing on the Monday.
All new at 11, some Gwinnett County residents are feeling sticker shock. The disbelief comes as they receive their annual property assessment notices.
And as 11 Live's Bobeth Yates tells us tonight, about 70%, 76% of those residents are seeing that increase.
That's right. Almost 230,000 Gwinnett County residents received their annual trim notices, stating they will likely be paying more in property taxes this year because property values have skyrocketed.
From my home, which is a very small 3-bedroom home, my increase was over $500 from last year to this year.
Gwinnett County resident Matt Turner is alone. According to Gwinnett County, 76% of residents will see an increase in their property assessments. The difference is the result of changes in the appraised property values, which is adjusted based on market conditions. But realtor Don Jacobs says it's not all bad.
As property values go up, that's really a great thing for homeowners, because what you're going to see is people get more value for their properties. That's really what you're looking for. I don't know anybody that wants to sell their house for less.
Jacobs says the higher the home is valued, the better. But some, like Kay Carter, says the impact on those who are not trying to sell is too much.
Thank you.
I feel very disappointed and overwhelmed right now because everything is going up. Groceries is high. All the services are going up. So right now, to experience another increase is just like another slap in the face.
Sentiments echoed by Turner.
Now your insurance is going to go up because your insurance needs to cover that. And if you think about people that are renting, rents are going to have to go up because the landlords are going to have to pay for that cost as well. So it seems a bit exorbitant.
So how exorbitant?
I bought the house in 2016, and then since then it's gone up tremendously. So total, it's been 133%, and with a 20% increase this year.
Now residents can appeal their assessed values. For details on that process, just go to this story on the 11 Alive website. There will be a link.
Okay, so as I told you guys, I'm going to be sharing these links for these different counties that I showed you guys because it's all over. Now, that man, that's what I'm sorry. I didn't mean to call him stupid. But obviously, you know what I just broke down to you guys. It's cute in perspective to have a home that value this and you have equity. But if you don't have the income to pay when you pull that equity back out and then that money goes, whatever you did, you build the home, you took the equity, renovated the home, or you took the equity to pay some bills. After that money that you pulled out is done, how are you moving forward when the cost of living is still going up and the cost of our pay rate is still like this? Okay. It's still like this. They didn't even hit the $15 national minimum pay rate in certain states because, like Jersey, for instance, and Georgia too, because obviously Georgia, I ain't seen nobody get $15 an hour here. They supposed to kick it in. They gave states a couple of years to do this. I'm gonna have to get back to y'all with the specifics because I don't remember off the top of my head. It's like 4 years or so. But yeah, Jersey was doing the increments of 50 cents a year so they won't stress the business owner out. But as they just said, this is a trickle effect. And what they remind me of is, damn, the insurance gonna go up. I'm waiting. Now I gotta talk to the insurance company and adjust the insurance because that's gonna be something else we talk about. Y'all gonna be like, oh my God, Lashley, what the hell wrong with you? I can test my insurance 1 year. I had to tell on them. They basically, the value of the home made it cost more money to build the home, allegedly. And I said, baby, no. Unless it's inflation in that particular market, I can understand, but this is too much. So what I did, I had to report the insurance company to the Federal Trade Commission so they can review the actual account and see if this was justified. And it was not. But I ended up going with another insurance company that gave me a better quote for the rebuilding. Because that's the thing you need to pay attention to in your insurance quote. What makes your insurance go up in home insurance is actually how much it costs to replace the home. And if that's inflated, your insurance is going to be inflated. I know I'm saying a lot, but I hope y'all learning a lot. Okay. So before I give y'all some more resources, what we're going to do is get a word from our sponsors. We'll be having an event on June 15th. That's actually next week. We hope you guys are in Atlanta to attend.
Of my final report Thursday evening, I started receiving emails from senior citizens seeking a simpler way to take advantage of the new property tax freeze. Well, the first question came from Carol McWhorter. She heard me report about a way to send in the application instead of waiting in line. She said, I have researched their website and cannot find any instructions or information about how to do this. Do you have any information about how we can file using email? Well, so I jumped on it. Within minutes, the tax assessor's office sent me the very email address Carol was seeking. I have since posted that address and the form qualifying seniors need to fill out on our website. Voters just approved this new exemption last November, and the state did not offer any guidance on how to carry it out until just last month. Jefferson County residents 65 and up who have lived in their home for the last 5 years qualify. If they get the application in by April 30th, they can freeze their property tax amount at the 2022 value. And the tax assessor's office predicts some properties could rise 30% this year. So acting now could save seniors big bucks.
All right, so let's talk about that April 30th deadline, because that's just a few weeks from now.
Oh, I caught myself because we was mute. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You know what's troubling to me is the fact that they roll out these programs and then they don't tell people how to use the programs. And I said this is what Black people face all the time with programs that's rolled out into our community, and then it's minority based, and then there's no information nowhere. Now I can say now that we're not alone, because they're literally doing this to senior citizens. And it's so sad because senior citizens have a hard time using the internet, doing these type of things. So they supposed to have been sending letters out to them, doing robocalls to them, the way that they communicate. But obviously, in my conspiracy mind, maybe someone don't want people to freeze their actual taxes for the last year amount. So this was one of the incentives that went down, and I don't know if people knew it, because I didn't even know it. Now we have an update from Rutgers. U.S. Supreme Court curbs state property taxes windfall. Now let's go into there and figure out what's going on and see if we have any leeway of trying to fight some of these taxes and see if the government gonna try to help us. Okay, we got some new updates. If you can see it, can you see it on the screen, guys? All right. Now, U.S. Supreme Court curbs state property tax windfall. This is May 25th, 2023. As you see, when we show you resources, we move from the furthest date and move it up till now, and it's pretty consistent. It's starting to be a problem. We're in a bind. Okay, so May 25th, the U.S. Supreme Court on Thursday curbed the state and local government from seizing and selling homes of people with unpaid property taxes and keeping the proceeds beyond an amount owed, deeming the practices unconstitutional and ruling in favor of a 94-year-old woman who battled taxes authorities in Minnesota. Now, let's see if this is related to just the seniors, okay? Because, baby, if they can't seize property based on property taxes, that means us as tax lien investors in deep doo-doo. Because we invest in these because this is the lowest amount that we can actually obtain property is through taxes. That's why we teach both sides to this, because we don't want people to be sharks. Okay, we go in this process because we want to obtain properties at the lowest price, but we also go in this process to educate people on how to maneuver in the system and how to become financially secure through gaining property without a home loan. Or if you're in a home loan and you're being kind of like bullied, we share a lot of information that can teach you how to mitigate these factors. Just like today, we're going to bring up a lawyer next. He say sue. Alabama lawyer say sue. I'll take the case. That's going to be our last link that we share with you right next after we go over this. But let's go down. The justice ruled 9-0 in the property right cases to overturn a lower court decision to throw out Tyler's proposed class action lawsuit accusing Hampton County, which contains Minnesota's most populated city in Minneapolis, of violating her rights under the U.S. Constitution, Fifth Amendment. Okay. You know, I'm about to be under the Fifth Amendment, dog. Yes, I'm about to see how that applies to my taxes too. I told you I'm contesting it. Tyler had owed roughly $15,000 in property taxes, including interest and fees. The county foreclosed on her home in 2016, sold it at an auction for $40,000, keeping the balance that it owed. Now, the Primetime Home Buyer to Buyback team, this is called overage. This is a practice that I understand. This is a practice that I practice. I do not teach this in the buyback team, but I am looking for partners in the near future. So we will be dropping some information because basically this is research. We're going to find these homeowners that's in this particular situation and we're going to get their money back. Lashley knows how to do it. Baby, I'm not just a shark. I'm a shero. Okay. So we're sharing this with you guys because this is called overage. Okay. So a taxpayer who loses $40,000 a house to state to fulfill a $15,000 debt. So this means she has about $25,000 in overage. That $25,000 is sitting inside the county. Okay. And they have laws that after a certain amount of time, they get to keep this money. Okay. So the taxpayer must render unto Caesar what is Caesar, but no more. What is this? Hold up. Under Minnesota tax regime, the state tax absolute title of the property. If any owner fails to pay property taxes for 5 years under the system, counties may keep any tax delinquent property for the public purpose to sell it to other government entities and private buyers, which is us, primetime home buyers. After covering expenses, any remaining proceeds are given to the local school district, city, and county. None is refunded to the former owner. Now, this is why she should have sued, because Minnesota was cheating. Every other county have overage. Minnesota should have been sued. And the only way that they could fix this is by somebody taking the torch and saying, you better pay me, because I know that this is not right. So I am proud of this 94-year-old woman because basically Minnesota was cheating. They were keeping the $25,000 of overage, and that is not right. So I'm happy about this winning. Me too. Even as a tax lien investor, I want us to win. Me, you, we the little guy. Wherever we win, we got to win. Okay, so I'm happy about this win. It will mean for a whole lot of people, but especially seniors who would otherwise lose their savings but put out on the street. Tyler said in a statement released by the Pacific Legal Foundation Conservative Legal Group. Okay, so today's decision is a major victory for property rights in the United States. The attorney with the group said it. The court ruling makes clear that home equity theft is not only unjust but unconstitutional. So that is actually what's going on, the home equity theft. But what ended up happening is that I know that home was worth way more than $50,000, but the equity that the actual county got out of it was $25,000. Now we're showing you that case to highlight that tax lien investors, I don't know, we're gonna stay aware, because if they actually pass a federal law that they're not going to allow homes to be seized from this point to another time, that means that it's going to severely cut the actual property houses, the amount of properties that we have to invest in across the United States. That's something we're going to be talking about on Friday, okay, guys? But it's very important. That's why we're talking about this, because we need to understand our actual system that we're in, the environment that we're in, pertaining to tax liens and tax deeds, mortgages, loans, and everything that we're talking about now with Secure Your Energy. Now, we're going to follow up and see what laws are being created for this specific situation. I do, guys, want you guys to know that there is a statute of limitation when it comes to two factors. One, contesting your taxes. It's probably like 30, 40, like 90 days. Look at the paper, and it'll tell you when you have. My deadline was actually June the 12th, and I just sent it last week. And then also, I want you guys to highlight that you, I said that as the taxes, and there was one more thing that just slipped my mind. It's going to come back to me. So let's get back to this last one. This is a lawyer, Alabama lawyer, who's basically telling you, I'm referring you to his website, Alabama consumers, and everything we're going to show you, they even all the news broadcasts specifically told you today, hit our link, hit our pages. We have resources for you. The old people had to contact the news to figure out how to even get the freeze on their stuff, because the county was not broadcasting it. So that's why we're broadcasting it, because they're not going to do this for us. They're not going to do it for us, the middle class. They're trying to take our property. They're trying to take it all. All right, so can I really sue my mortgage company for validating RESPA? We're going to introduce the concept of RESPA to you, but we're not going to go deeply into it. This is when mortgage company deal with mortgage fraud. We need to figure out who will be dealing with these counties if they're dealing with county fraud, but we'll figure it out, guys, because I think they overtaxing us. We got a problem. We're in the bind, y'all. So let's watch this together.
Hello, my name is John Watts. I'm an Alabama consumer protection attorney. And in this video, we're going to talk about, can you really sue your mortgage company under this federal law of RESPA, R-E-S-P-A. We spent a lot of time talking about this law. It's incredibly powerful, particularly if you're facing foreclosure and if you have any errors that the mortgage company is making. And they almost always make errors, or at least they're very confusing in what they do. So if you send letters, request for information letters, notice of error letters, and they're not properly responded to, if the mortgage company forecloses, which would violate the dual tracking prohibition, if you're in the middle of a loss mitigation. So I'm throwing a bunch of things at you. We have videos on all those. My point is, if they violate RESPA, then yes, we can sue them in federal court. My firm does it. We file these suits. We've been successful in these suits. They're very, very powerful suits, because every time that mortgage company violates RESPA, it can be up to $2,000. And for some of these violations, there's another similar law called Truth in Lending. Some of those can be $4,000 per violation. So we have some of these cases we're filing where we say we have 10 violations, 50 violations, 100 violations.
We're gonna get some money.
Well, you know, you start adding that up on your fingers, and that becomes a lot of money. Plus, we can get mental anguish, other damages. We get attorney's fees. Very, very powerful law. So the question is, can you sue? Absolutely. And you can get money damages if you're successful. If you want to know more about RESPA, I'll give you 2 resources, and you can always call us. But these are 2 things you can check out right now, absolutely free, no charge. go to foreclosuredvd.com. There'll be 4 videos that you get access to and a workbook, and then something called RESPA, R-E-S-P-A, video.com, respavideo.com. There's I think it's an hour-long video there. And then if you want the sample documents, the sample letters, because that's what the video is doing, is going through, okay, why do we say this? Why do we say that? What do you do here? What do you do there? To help you learn to think through this, then you can just give us your contact information and you can immediately get those letters. And I think those will be very helpful. You can always call us 205-879-2447 or alabamaconsumer.com. But again, to answer the question, can you sue them for violating RESPA? Absolutely. And if you're in that position where you need to sue your mortgage company in Alabama for violating RESPA, I love to do that. I'd be very happy to talk with you.
All right. I like them. I don't know these people. I never met them. I am not affiliated with them as a legal nursing consultant, but they are fighting for the little guy. And like he said, he gave us amazing resources. So if you don't remember the resources that he shared with you, this is share with us, baby, because I'm about to download that myself. You know, I love to learn. So one of the things I just want to show you lastly as well, do you see that? Get this resource off the screen right now. Get your foreclosure DVD to figure out if they had violated, because what I just told you was that they violated me by misrepresenting how much they needed for my escrow. So I'm going to see, can I contact a Georgia lawyer to keep y'all posted? Because according to the statute of limitations, and that's going to be the last thing that I show you, there's a statute of limitations to get these type of things looked at. And that's why we need to be on point Susies, they're on point Teddies, whatever you want to call yourself, men. Statute of limitation for appraisal negligence. So this is negligence for appraisals, but there's a statute of limitation for everything. So we need to know what's the statute of limitation for these type of issues with mortgage companies, and we will be able to find that at the Consumer Protection Bureau by calling, and they probably can refer you or doing simple Google research like we do. So right here in Georgia, they have a 4-year statute of limitation, the limit time period, and whether a discovery ruling applies to the negligent claim against appraisers in Georgia has not been defined, definitely determined. So this is the code. So basically saying that we have a little bit more time in Georgia, but different states have different times where if you had a faulty appraisal done and it was too much or too low, this is where you can find some of this information at. Please be aware that I'm going to leave the resources for you. If you don't see it tonight, you will see it first thing in the morning because it's like 10 o'clock here. So I hope you guys got a lot of insight on the topic today. I'm going to call myself Miss Consumer Protection. I'm Miss Consumer Protection right here, baby, for the community. I'm not here to play. I'm here to slay. I appreciate you guys being here for me and being interested in this topic. People are not interested to hear somebody just talk about this type of stuff. But this information can literally save you and put money back in your pocket. So what we show you how to do is actually maneuver around this system that's basically trying to take advantage of us. So I want to say thank you for being here with Lashley. Buyback team, we're going to do a pre-recording for Friday because we're going to be in Stroudsboro. I told you. My baby girl going to college out there, so we got to go check it out. And we're going to go check out the courthouse and see what they got going on. I'm going to come back with some information for y'all. So I appreciate you guys for being here with me. Remember that we're having an event next Thursday, which is the 10 days from now. If you didn't know about it, here you go.
Would you like to learn a brand new and innovative way to invest your extra money that has a low barrier to entry and low competition? What if I told you that it is a guaranteed method to get up to 18 to 20% return on your investment? Tax lien and deed purchasing is the only way to get into the real estate market through the back door. No credit and no loans needed. This method isn't commonly taught, and therefore the competition is very low, for now. Put together a 14-hour info-packed course which will teach you everything you'll need to know to get started. Learn at your own pace, step-by-step guided video and aids to start you on the TLC deed investment process. The course offers many learning tools for new investors, helping ensure you safely invest in tax liens and deeds. Contact us today and join the buyback team.